This will be first call for our intermediate showman. First call for intermediates.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity to come out here and sort through the Dawson County Fair and the beef show here this evening. At least 2 young men. These 2 young men over here are the 2 that are going to get the opportunity to come back and compete for overall and junior showmen. They just seem to be having just a little bit more experience out here and getting their steers stopped and set up and making sure that their front feet are squared up and then their rear legs are where they need to be. But let's give these individuals a round of applause today for 30.
Results from our first heat, we have Parker Caraway and Riggs O'Connell will be coming back in after the completion of our second class of juniors, and blue ribbons went to Chloe Urban and Kimberly DeRay. So next in the ring will be our 10 and 11-year-olds and our second class of junior beef show. Lassen and one Fairley. Following this class, we'll bring out our two exhibitors from the first class and from this class for our selection of our junior champion.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
This will be second call for our intermediate beef showman. Second call for intermediate beef showman. Please come to the holding area. For those who may have just joined us in the ring here, we're currently in the ring as our second class. It's time to eliminate.
A very competitive group of junior showmen out here from top to bottom. And I think this is some very good showmen that are going to get left out of the final drive. But these two young men are the ones that are going to get the opportunity to come back. But some quick comments. Young lady at the front of the line, I think you do a very nice job. When you're at the front of the line and you have that kind of room ahead of you, make sure you just keep pulling your animal forward and try to lock him into place instead of using your stick. I think that's an advantage that you have that we kind of got left on the table there, but I think you do a very nice job. young lady right here directly in front of me. Heifer, you're doing a very nice job. Heifer maybe just doesn't want to cooperate with you. Same for the Baldy steer showman. I think you're doing a nice job. He just kind of wants to fidget on you a little bit too much. But compliments to everybody again. Let's give these kids a round of applause today as the race.
This will be last call for junior intermediate showmanship. Last call for junior intermediates. Coming out of this class, back is going to be Owen Laston and Grant Paul Husky. Our champion junior showman, we have Parker Caraway, Riggs McConville, Grant Paul Husky, and Owen Laston. We also want to thank the Joe Jeffrey family for sponsoring the trophy that will be given to our junior youth. And following the selection of our champion showman, Joe will be here to present that trophy to him. This is first call for our first class of senior showmen. First call for senior showmanship, class 1.
Well, out here in our final drive for the junior beef showman, let's just put our hands together for these young kids out here, because this has easily been the deepest and most competitive division of showmanship that I've had the opportunity to sort through the last couple days here at the county fair. So compliments to you guys out here, because I know it takes a lot of work, and you guys are showing some big stout animals that's very easily to not only get pushed around by them, but also just to move them around the ring in this deep dirt. It takes a lot of work, and you guys are doing an exceptional job. I think all 4 of you guys should be proud of yourselves and your parents and family members back home that have been helping you. You all should be proud of yourselves and the effort that you guys have put in today, because it's been certainly been a very competitive set of showmen out here. But with that being said, I'll go out and pick the champion reserve. But again, my compliments to you guys. Let's put our hands together for these kids one more time.
Your champion junior showman is Owen Lassa from our second class of juniors. Congratulations, Owen. This will be second call for class 1 of senior showmanship. Second call for class 1. Next in the ring is going to be our full class of intermediate showmen. These are exhibitors age 12 and 13. Also at this time, this will be last call for class 1 of our senior showmanship. Last call for class 1. Showman Trophy. Is the Dennis Berkey family. So we appreciate their support for sponsoring the intermediate 4-H beef showmanship.
Out here in our intermediate showmanship drive, I think we had a few individuals that are doing a very, very nice job out here getting their animals stopped and set up, and then walking them into place. I think that the two young ladies over here to my right were easily just the most consistent with that. But amongst the pair, I thought one did a particularly better job this evening of having control of their animal and walking them into place. And I'll go out and show you who that is. But let's put our hands together for these exhibitors.
Your Your champion is Megan Lassen, and reserve goes to Bristol McConville. Congratulations to those exhibitors. This will be first call for Class 2 of our senior showmanship. First call for Class 2. Next in the ring is going to be our first of two classes of senior showmen. And these exhibitors are age 14 to 18 years old. This will also be second call for our second class of senior showmanship. Second call for Class 2 senior showmanship. This is the last call for Class 2 senior showmanship. Last call for Class 2 senior showmanship.
And here in our first seat of senior showmanship, these two young ladies over here to my right are the ones that are going to get to come back. Again, they're just the quickest and most efficient in their animal stop and set up and making sure that they're walking them into place and using the stick as little as possible. But let's give these kids a round of applause as they exit the ring.
Cleveland Worthinger and Leslie Johnson will be coming back following class 2 for the selection of our senior showman trophy. Momentarily, we'll have the second class of our senior showman entering the ring, followed by the selection of our senior showmanship champion. For those that are showing TV following our showmanship classes, we will begin with our British breeds, which includes the Shorthorn, Angus, Red Angus, and Hereford breeds. So if you're going to be showing breeding beef, be getting those animals ready and start coming to the holding area here shortly. Once again, following our senior sheep showmanship championship, we will be starting with our breeding breed with the British breeds. So if you are an exhibitor that's going to be showing Shorthorn, Angus, Red Angus, or Hereford, please get your animals ready and come up to the holding area when you're ready. We will begin following our selection of our champion senior showman.
Here in our final heat for the senior showman, these two young ladies over here to my right are get the opportunity to come back. Again, they're just the most consistent, getting their animals stopped and set up and walking them into place, making sure that they're squaring their front feet and their back feet are where they need to be, and then also making sure that they got their animals heads up. But those are all big things that they probably just do a little bit better and more consistent of a job on. But let's give these kids a big round of applause today.
Dave Husky and Trina Pearson were selected from this second heat to come back in with Jalen Wolfinger and Lexi Johnson for the selection of our reserve champion senior showman. The Carl Hefley family has graciously sponsored the trophy for our champion of our senior youth showman. Family is here to present that trophy following that selection. So our breeding beef exhibitors are going to be showing in British breeds. We're going to have single entry and Shorthorn in class 1, followed by 2 entries in class 2 of an Angus and Red Angus, and the third class will be the Hereford, also a single entry. So we'll follow going from Shorthorn to Angus to the Hereford and the British breeds, which will be following the selection of our champion senior showman. This is going to be last call for our breeding beef, our British breeds. So if you have the Shorehorn, either one of the Angus or the Hereford, we need you in the holding area at this time, please. Last call for British breeds.
Another really competitive group of senior showmen out here, and I think kids ringside could be taking notes. I think all four of these kids do a very, very nice job, and there can be an argument for any one of them to any combination of them being a champion reserve that I've listened to, because I think they all did a really, really nice job, but it kind of just comes down to personal preference at this point, and kind of just how I happen to be standing when I look, and it kind of just comes down to almost luck of the draw in a sense. But there's a couple that I thought did a really good job throughout. They're very consistent and always had their animals dialed in when I was looking. But I'll go out and show you a champion reserve showman. Again, compliments to these guys, and let's put our hands together for them.
Your champion senior showman for the 2025 Beef Showmanship, Senior Beef Showmanship, goes to Jalen Wolfinger. And reserve champion goes to Paige Wallahowski. Congratulations to those exhibitors. And again, thanks to the Carl Hefner family for sponsoring the trophy for that event. Momentarily, we're going to get started in our breeding beef show. We're going to start with our British breeds, and they're broken up by date of birth. Our first class, which is a single entry, Shorehorn, is calved between January and February of 2024.
nice single entry to kick off our breeding heifer show. A really bold-bodied, powerful mate, kind of a female that I think has a really attractive set in the build of her hip and hind leg. I think she's got plenty enough condition on her at this stage of the game for me. We'd like to just tone her back in that regard because she's starting to affect the way that she travels there out of her front end, and she's starting to deposit some fat back into her udder. But aside from that, a really bold body, powerful kind of a female that let's put our hands together for this young lady.
Results from our first class of British breeds. Single entry shown by Lizzie David, Shorthorn. Was calved between January and February of 2024. Next in the ring is going to be our second class. There's 2 entries, and they were calved between March and April 2024. At this time, this will be a first call for our continental breeds. If you are showing one of the continental breeds in our breeding brief show, please bring your entries up to the holding area at this time. It's first call for continental breeds. We have a momentary delay while we're switching on animals here. Now in the ring is our second class of British breeds. These are heifers that were born between March and April 2024. This will be second call for our continental breeds in our breeding breed show. Second call for our continental breeds.
A nice pair of cattle out here in our British division. The young lady's Angus heifer is going to win this particular class. I think a really good body and powerfully constructed kind of a female, but where she sets herself apart in this class is when the cattle travel around the ring. She's got the more attractive set there to her hip and hind leg, and it's a much more comfortable and consistent in the way that she plants on her rear pastern and is just square footed underneath. I think she still proportions and balance is good enough from the side. A nice one to go ahead and lead off with. A young man's red Angus heifer that's going to end up here in second, and a really good body kind of a heifer that's got a lot of dimension when you step in behind the cattle. I like how level she is down her top line. She's got a long level hip in her as well, and I can really appreciate that about her. Where she needs fixed is when he pulls her to lead. She's just so too upright in the build of her shoulder and knee. Needs to plant with more flexibility and comfort in the way that she uses her rear leg. But it's still a very nice heifer to be sitting second in this class. Let's put our hands together for him.
Results from our second class of British breeds. First place went to Trina Pearson, and second place to Parker Caraway. And those were born between March and April of 2024. Our final class in our British breeds is also a single entry. This calf will have been born between May and June of last year, 2024. Following this single entry class, we will be doing our selection of our champion and reserve champion British breed heifer. Last call for continental breeds. If you're not in the holding area, please come to the holding area at this time. All of our continental breeds, please come to the holding area.
A young lady brought out a nice single entry here in this class, a really long necked, extended kind of a heifer that's got a very flexible structure and skeleton to her, which I can appreciate that about her. I would like to see just a shot more just body and width and dimension on her at this stage of the game, but still a very nice heifer in the single entry class. Let's congratulate her.
Congratulations, Kim Reyes. She was the exhibitor in this last class. We will momentarily be bringing in our class winners for those three classes of British breeds for the selection of our champion and reserve champion British breed heifer. From our first class, we have Lizzie David. From our second class, last one was Trina Pearson. Parker Caraway in second, and Julie Marie from the last class.
A nice drive of Peppers out here in the British division. But I think personally, I think the cattle out of that second class, I like where they're at, how they're really big bodied and soft and easy flushing cattle that are still fresh in their condition or travel well around the ring. We're just going to keep those two together for champion reserve in this division. Let's congratulate them.
Goes to Trina Pearson. And reserve champion goes to Parker Caraway. Congratulations to those ladies. The next division we have coming into the ring here shortly is going to be our continental breeds. There are 3 different classes that will be showing in that continental breed division. We have 3 entries in the first class. And those animals will have been calved between January and February of 2024. One correction in our continental breed, there is a 4th class. We will have a single entry column in this class, 3. We'll have Gabby Caraway showing a Mark Gable It was a change.
I can play now.
Nice trio of balancers out here. The young lady's heifer, I think, does a lot of things really good. I think it's unique how she's that soft and bold in her rig. It still maintains a good look up there to her front end. Still a very sound structured heifer that travels more than functional enough off either end. A nice one to go ahead and lean off with. The heifer that's going to come here in second, that's the bigger footed option that is maybe just a little bit more consistent in the way that she plants on her rear pastern when compared back to our class winner. Very powerful, sound made kind of female when you step in behind her. She needs to be fixed structurally, particularly in the middle of her shoulder and knee. She's just too vertical and upright there in her front end. Consequently, in motion wants to get just a tad weaker there in her loin as well. I want to fix her in that regard. The heifer that's going to round out the class is an awesome body, very easy flushing, kind of a heifer that's going to make a good cow for this young lady. One that structurally we need to fix her in the way that she moves out of her hind leg. She's frailer and tighter in the way that she plants on her rear pastern. So I want to see her fresher and neater up through her front end, but still a very nice trio of cattle in that class. Let's give them a round of applause.
Results from our first class of Continental breeders: first place went to Dave Molahusky, second place went to Grant Molahusky, and third went to Meg Molahusky. Congratulations to them. Next in the ring, we will have our second class of Continental breeds. This will be first call for our crossbred and commercial breeding heifers. First call for crossbred and commercial.
Nice heifer in this single entry class. That young lady brought out a key Angus heifer that I think balances really well from the side. She's very long and extended up there through her front end. She's soft and bold in her rib, has a ton of dimension when you step up behind her. I particularly like how big-footed she is as well. I think she travels reasonably sound enough for me on either end of her structure. A nice heifer in this single entry class. Let's give her a round of applause.
Congratulations to Gavin Terrell. Next will be our third class of Continental breeds for March to April 2024. Single entry class. Second call for our crossbred and commercial breeding heifers. Second call for our crossbred and commercial breeding heifers.
Another nice single entry here in this class, a maintainer out here that's really long and extended through her front end. She's very long and level down her top line and out through her hip. A huge footed kind of a heifer that's still flexible on behind her end of her structure. Maybe would like to lay her back and angle of her shoulder and knee just a bit, but still a reasonably sound enough kind of a heifer in her own right. Who's very stout and powerful and neat in her lines. A nice heifer in the single entry class. Let's give her a round of applause.
Congratulations to Megan Lassen. Next in the ring is our final class, single entry for our continental breeds. This will be a heifer born between May and June of 2024. Following this next single entry class, we will be doing our selection of our champion and reserve champion continental breed. Last call for our crossbred and commercial breeding heifers. Last call for our crossbred and commercial breeding heifers.
Another balancer heifer out here that was very dysfunctional in her type and kind, moderate, soft body kind of a heifer that is flexible on either end of her structure. Probably just doesn't have some kind of look and presence as a couple other cattle that we've seen out here, but a big picture, good body, sound structure, very even in her teeth placement. Should make an awesome cow for this young man. Let's give him a round of applause.
Results from our last class of our continental breeds. Congratulations to Parker Walhusky. Next in the ring is going to be our first and second place from those four classes, back for the selection of our champion and reserve champion continental breed.
A nice group of heifers out here in this division, and we had several single entries out here, so I'm just gonna run through my thoughts on each of them just real quick and briefly, because I think that there's a lot of different ways that you could go, so I just wanna let you guys know kind of what's going through my head. The balance your heifer out of the first class, I think there's a tremendous amount of good in this heifer. That's a moderate, awesome body kind of a heifer that's got a lot of width and dimension to her. I think she's plenty functional in her structure, but if we're gonna out here in the show ring kind of nitpick kind of everything, I don't think she's just as stout in her bone work as I'd like her to be. I want her to just handle her hind leg with just shot more security and comfort in the way that she moves around the ring. I'd like to see her just tie into her tail head just a tad better and then make her neater and fresher and more centered in her look up front. But that's, again, kind of just nitpicking every little thing in her, because big picture, I think that's a very good kind of a female. The heifer that's out of the second class, probably ringside, just reads with the most maternal image, in my opinion. A really long and extended fronted kind of a heifer that's soft and deep in her rib. She's big-footed underneath, and then when she's pulled the lead, I think she travels arguably the best in this particular class. I'm not going to sit here, or drive, excuse me. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that she's perfect structured, because she's another one that probably could be relaxed in the angle of her shoulder knee just ever so slightly. But one who I think, if you're going to draw one up, probably is just the closest, and just a show heifer kind of an image, while still being able to go out and be a very productive cow long term. The balding heifer that's going to come out of that third class, I think, is arguably as unique and intriguing and exciting of a breeding piece as anything that's out here in this particular class. That's a huge-legged heifer that's stout. She's powerful. She's very long and extended up through her front end. I think she's got a lot of good pieces about her. Personally, my type and kind, she probably just doesn't quite fit the bill for me. I'd like to see her just a little bit softer in her rib. I want to relax from the angle of her shoulder and knee. She's just a little bit too straight up front for me. It doesn't hit me just quite as maternal as a couple other ones out here, but I think she'd be a really fun one to have in the herd at home, just to try to make something something that's really unique because I think there's a lot of good in that heifer. And then the heifer that came out of that fourth class, again, like I said, a very just practical kind of a heifer. She's good body, she's functional, she's sound. Out here in this lineup, probably just reads a shot plainer than the other cattle, but I think she'll still make an awesome cow for this young man long term. The second place heifer of that first class, a big-legged, good body kind of a heifer that again maybe just isn't quite as good as your look up front or the middle of her shoulder and knee. I thought this was a very good lineup of cattle, but the heifer out of the second class is going to go ahead and be our champion, and the heifer out of the first class will be our reserve. Let's give those young ladies a round of applause.
So your champion continental breed goes to Gabby Caraway, and reserve champion goes to Paige Walahoski. Congratulations to those two exhibitors. Momentarily, we'll be getting started with our crossbred and commercial division. Our first class in our crossbred and commercial is going to be a single entry with a heifer that was born between January and February of 2024. Single entry.
Another nice single entry out here in this class, a really big-footed, sound-structured kind of a heifer that's very stout and powerful when you get in behind the cattle. I really appreciate that about her. For her breed of main English, she's pretty typical to see that they're just not super soft and deep in their ribs, so I guess it doesn't bother me a whole lot, especially when it comes to that kind of just boldness and outward turn to her rib cage, and then couples it with that kind of foot shape and structure underneath. A nice heifer to go ahead and this single entry class. Let's put our hands together with her.
Congratulations to Jalen Hopinger from Class 1. Next, in our second class, we also have a single entry. This is for a March born heifer.
Another nice heifer in this single entry class, a sound structured heifer that's neat in her lines. She balances good from the side. Really very big picture, very functional kind of a heifer for this young lady. Let's give her a round of applause.
Congratulations to Haley Jensen. Our next class that's going to be coming into the ring is going to be our early April heifers. There's 3 entries in this class. These are heifers that are born before the 15th of April, 2024.
A nice pair of heifers here at the top end. The young man's maintainer heifer that's going to go ahead and lead off with. A good looking kind of heifer that's maternal in the shape of her head. She's soft in her body type. Plenty functional and correct enough in her structure out here in this particular class for her to go out and win. The smoky heifer that's going to come here in second is a really long body and extended kind of a heifer that's got a lot of shape and dimension when you step in behind the cattle. I think she's neat in her lines. Structurally, just want to change her just ever so slightly. She needs to be just more relaxed in the angle of her shoulder and knee and the build of her hock as well for me to be comfortable working her up over our class winner. The heifer that's going to round out the class, really flexible, loose, structured kind of a heifer out here that just needs some more of a power and a body to her. But let's give those exhibitors a round of applause.
Results from our early April cross-bedded commercial heifers. First place goes to Owen Lassow. Second place, Katrina Pearson. And third place with the Valley Arms. Our next class of heifers is going to be our late April heifers. These are heifers born after April 15th, 2024. There are 4 entries in this class. Following our CrossFit commercial division, we still have 2 additional classes following this. The classes in the ring, we will be starting our cow-calf pairs. So if you have a cow-calf pair, you'll be following the CrossFit commercial division here in the next 20 minutes or so.
That was my water.
Another nice effort to go ahead and lead off this class of really maternal, good body, moderate kind of an effort that's still very functional. They're structured. Maybe it's not the biggest foot in the world. Maybe it doesn't just travel out of her front end quite with the same kind of flexibility that we like, but a big picture, still very functional. Good balance, good looking kind of an effort to go out and win this particular class. From there, I think the young man's heifer that outfit to use here in second is just the next best in terms of just her look and her balance from the side. She's neatest through her front end. A lot of those down her top line and out through her hip and travels with more security out of her hip and hind leg than the one that's going to come here directly behind her. The one that's heifer in third, a really long bodied, extended kind of a heifer that's very flexible. Need to see her balance up just a shot better. Gets a little bit more round around her hip. And then the heifer that's going to round out the class, long bodied, extended heifer as well, that just needs more power and dimension. But let's give those exhibitors a round of applause.
Results from our late April class. First place goes to Alexa Johnson. Second place to Gus Barnes. Third place to Gus Barnes. And fourth place to Owen Fairley. Next in the ring is going to be a single entry with a Mayborn calf. Mayborn heifer, excuse me. In our CrossFit commercial division. Once again, following our CrossFit commercial division, we will be going into our cow-calf pairs. So if you have a cow-calf pair that's going to be in that section, please bring them up to the holding area this time, please.
Another nice heifer in the single entry class, a moderate, good body kind of a heifer that's been very easy fleshing. Want to see her just to balance up just a shot better, reassemble her in the middle of her hip and hind leg. But let's congratulate this young lady.
Congratulations to Haley Jensen, Mayborn heifer. Next in the ring, we have August Ward heifer. Single entry in class.
young lady brought out a nice single entry class, or a really long bodied extended kind of a heifer that's got an attractive set to her hip and hind leg. I want to see her just maybe a little bit neater fronted and softer body, but let's put our hands together for this young lady.
Congratulations to Chloe Urban for her August-born heifer. Next in the ring, we're going to bring back our first and second place from our crossbred and commercial division for our champion and reserve champion crossbred breeding heifer. For our market beef exhibitors, we will begin that show following our breeding show here. We have up next is our champion and reserve champion commercial and crossbred breeding heifer, followed by our cow-calf pairs, and then we'll have our overall champion breeding heifer and reserve champion. Then we'll be starting our market beef show.
Another nice lineup of heifers out here. We'll run through them just real briefly because I think there's a lot of different ways you can go. I want to make sure I'm pretty transparent on what's going through my head out here in this particular lineup. But the heifer that came out of the first class, if you're just building cattle from the ground up, that heifer is awesome in her foot shape. She's huge bone. With that, it's unique that she's that big-footed and stout-legged, and still arguably just one of the soundest structured cattle that's came through the ring today in terms of being able to reach and flex and maintain their balance as they move around the ring. When you step up behind her, that's an incredibly bold, powerfully constructed, dimensional kind of a heifer as well. Still blends smooth from her shoulder to her body type. So where she's good, I think she does a lot of things incredibly good. She probably, in my personal preferences, is just the neatest and most attractive there through her front end. I personally like to see her just a shot softer in her rib, but with her being a main Angus, it's not uncommon to find them just a little bit more tubey in the way that their body type is. So I guess that probably just doesn't bother me too much. It tends to be based on her breed type. I think she's a really great, good round body or really bold bodied heifer that's really good structure. I think she pulls together neat enough in her look and balance from the side as well. This smoky heifer that's going to come here in the second class, a long-bodied, level-topped heifer that's got enough groove and body to her, maybe just a shot plainer up front and trailer in her bone work when compared to some other cattle out here, but I still think she'll make a plenty functional enough cow for that young lady. A young man's heifer that come out of the third class, I think there's still a lot of good in this female. She's long-necked, her neck ties on the top of her shoulder, she's soft in her rib, functionally good enough in her structure as well. When you start to nitpick her, she's got a few just little holes in her. She's a little bit plainer there at the top side of her neck. Got a little bit of extra chest. She's more upright in the build of her shoulder and knee. You can see her travel just a nickel better out of her way that she moves out of her rear leg. That's again getting really critical of one that big picture does a lot of things really well. The heifer that the young lady's got coming out next. Really a good balance kind of a female that's feminine through her front end. I like how smooth she is just in her lines and how she ties from her shoulder into her body type. She's dead level down her top line and out of her hip. She's got an attractive build of her hip and hind leg, and I think she uses it better than the heifer directly heifer in this particular lineup. I would like to see her stouter, her bone work, maybe move just a shot better out of her front structure when the cattle are pulled to lead, but still a very nice kind of a heifer in her own right. Then the young man smoky heifer that's coming out of the class directly behind him, long body kind of a heifer, just a little bit plainer out here in this lineup. Kind of a similar story for the young lady's heifer that came out of that last class. Really long body, loose structured heifer that's just a little bit plainer in the way that she's put together. So I think there's a lot of different ways that you can go with this lineup of cattle, but personally I like the heifer out of the first class to go ahead and be our champion, and the heifer out of the fourth class will be our reserve. Let's give them a round of applause.
Your champion cross-fed commercial division heifer comes out of class 1, that's Jalen Wolfinger. And our reserve champion came out of class 4, which was Lexi Johnson. Congratulations to those two exhibitors. Momentarily, we'll be bringing out our cow-calf pairs. We've got 4 entries in that class. And following our selection of our champion, reserve champion cow-calf, we will be selecting our overall champion and reserve champion breeding heifer. So our market beef exhibitors, you need to be getting ready because we've got 2 classes ahead of you. So we'll start with the market heifers. So our market beef exhibitors, we will have a 10-minute break between our breeding show and before we start our market beef show. There'll be a 10-minute break. Next in the ring are our cow-calf pairs. We have 4 entries in this class. Following this class, we will be doing our selection of our overall champion breeding heifer and reserves. So if you had a champion or reserve in one of the British Continental or commercial crossbred divisions, you need to be ready.
nice group of cow-calf pairs out here. The young lady's pair that's ultimately going to go out and win this particular class. A really good-looking kind of a cow that's stout. She's good-bodied. She's got a good teeth under placement as well. But ultimately decides that top pair because I think it's close between the cows is the calf on their side because I think it's the cow's job to outproduce themselves, and I think she did just a better job on this one. This bull calf is really big, stout, high-performing. I'm going to go out and make a good herd sire for somebody someday. A nice one to go out and win this particular class. The pair that's going to come here in second, both good structured, good body kind of cattle that are very neat and attractive in their lines. I think both of them could benefit from just a little bit more just muscularity and stoutness and dimension for them to compete with our class winner, but it's still a very nice group of cattle right there. The Baldy pair that's going to come out next, the really long-bodied, high-performing kinds of cattle, compared to the ones ahead of them, probably don't have the same kind of this really good body and muscularity to them, but I still think that they're very functional cattle in their own right. Same can be said for the pair that's going to round out the class, very loose-structured, functional kinds of cattle, maybe just a little bit plainer in the way that they're put together, don't have the same kind of just power and performance as some other ones out here. But let's give these exhibitors a round of applause.
Congratulations to Greta Ricketson with her first place cow-calf pair. Second place went to Lorelei Ricketson. Third place to Alex Ricketson. And fourth place to Augustus Farms. We will be bringing in next our champion and reserve champions from each of our breeding divisions for the selection of our overall champion and reserve champion breeding division. Just again, a reminder to our market these exhibitors, following our champion, a selection of our champion, reserve champion overall breeding heifer, we will be taking a 10-minute break before we start the market beef show. 10-minute break between breeding and market beef.
I thought it's been a really competitive breeding heifer show and cow-calf show here this evening, particularly within a couple of the divisions. I thought you could scramble things around in a lot of different ways with a different judge, and you could end up with a completely different lineup out here. So my compliments to you guys, because I thought there's a lot of really competitive cattle out here. So we can put our hands together for our exhibitors, and I'll go out and show you which two are my favorite.
Your champion breeding heifer goes to Jalen Wolfinger. And your reserve champion goes to Gabby Carroll. Congratulations to those exhibitors and all of our exhibitors today showing in our breeding heifer. We will begin our market beef show at approximately 6:10 p.m. We'll begin the market beef show at 6:10 p.m. Go down. We'll get started with our market beef show here in the next 4 or 5 minutes. We will begin the beef show order. We're going to be starting with our market heifers. We have 2 classes of market heifers. We have 3 entries in the first class and a single entry in the second, followed by market steers. For those of you just joining us for the market show, I want to introduce you to our judge for today, Cal Schultz. He's originally from Fairboard, Minnesota, where he grew up on a diversified livestock operation. After graduating high school, Cal attended Butler Community College, where he obtained his associate's degree in agribusiness and competed on their highly competitive livestock judging team. The team amassed wins at the North American and Houston Livestock Shows, resulting in a tie for the Junior College Livestock Judging Team of the Year. He then transferred to Oklahoma State University, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in animal science and was a member of the national champion livestock judging team. Cal then served as an assistant livestock judging coach at Butler Community College while completing his master's degree in meat science at Oklahoma State University. Beginning in December of 2024, Cal accepted a role as a faculty member at the University of Nebraska, where he is a lecturer in the animal science department and is also the head coach of livestock judging team. So we want to thank Cal for coming here and judging our livestock today. With that, we'll start here shortly with our heifers, our market heifers.
Yeah, totally. Minus a few more bucks. Yeah, okay.
So our market heifer exhibitors, we need to have you up, moving up here and getting checked in at this time. With our first class, the heifers weighing 1,034 to 1,058 pounds.
I noticed that I was going to.
Using it takes your time.
Bye.
It's long building. That's no problem.
No, nothing wrong with that. Yes. I don't remember what it was. Yeah. I was volunteering today, basically. Prepared fossils at one of them. And the other one,
We need our market heifer exhibitors up to the podium at this time to get checked in, please. We're ready to get going. And we need our market steers. Surely we only have 2 classes of market heifers. And we have another 5 classes of market steers. So bring those animals up here to the holding area and get checked in at this time, please. All right, we're ready to get started with our market beef show. In our first class, we had three market heifer entries, weighing 1,034 to 1,058 pounds. Market steer exhibitors, this is your first call. We've only got two classes of market heifers, so if you have a market steer come up, please get your animal up to a holding area and get checked in at this time, please.
Nice group of market heifers out here in this class, and there's not a ton of difference from a muscularity and a shape standpoint. The heifer that's going to end up going out and winning is to count on the structure, look, and balance. That's easily the neatest fronted heifer. That's the most attractive in the way that she travels around the ring. She stops and parks with the right kind of look from the side. A nice one to go ahead and lead off with. A young man's heifer that's going to come here in second is a huge-footed kind of a heifer who's really stout and powerful. I appreciate that about her. She just structurally probably isn't quite as good as our class winner. She's more upright in her shoulder, lots of work up there in her top line, get rounder out of her hip. The red heifer that's going to round out the class is probably the most aggressive in her shape, down over her rib, line and out of her hip. She probably holds the advantage in this class from that regard. Structurally, she just needs to be more flexible off either end for her to work up any higher. But let's give those kids a nice round of applause.
Results from our first class of market heifers. First place goes to Megan Lassen. Second place to Margaret Caraway. And third place to Gabby Caraway. Our second and final class of our market heifers is a single entry, weighing 1,130 pounds. Last call for our market steers. Last call for market steers.
Very stout and powerful kind of heifer out here in this class. She's really wide and opened up off either end of her structure. She's incredibly bold and soft in her rib, has a ton of shape down her top and out through her hip. Structurally, maybe just not the most flexible thing in the world, but she still has some flex and reach up either end. I think when you take into account her power, I think she moves good enough out here with nice single entry for that young man.
Congratulations to Owen Lassen. Next in the ring, we're going to have our first and second place in for our champion, reserve champion market heifer.
A nice group of cattle out here in this champion heifer, a market heifer lineup. I think all three of them are very competitive and good or bring a lot of good to the table. The young man's black and white heifer. I think while she's not perfect from a structure standpoint, I do think she holds a big enough advantage in terms of just a market animal, rib, muscularity, and dimension for her to go ahead and be our champion. And then we'll follow up with a heifer at a class 1 from reserve. Let's give them a round of applause.
Congratulations to Owen Lassen for his champion market heifer and Megan Lassen for her reserve champion heifer. Next up, we're going to be doing our market steers. Our first class of market steers is going to be animal 2 entries, weighing between 1,014 and 1,024.
Another nice pair of steers out here. The young lady's black steer that's going to go out and win pretty comfortably. Just the wider, constructive, more powerful kind of steer who's bolder in his rib. He's got more shape down his top and out through his hip. So balance is nice from the side. A nice one to go out and win. The young man's Hereford marked steer that's going to come here in second. Definitely has an advantage from the softness of rib and flexibility standpoint. Compared to our class winner, though, it doesn't offer near the same kind of shape and muscularity when you get it behind the cattle. But let's go ahead and give those kids a nice round of applause.
Results from our first class of market steers. First place goes to Trina Pearson, and second place to Levi Martin. Next in the ring, we have 2 entries, and these are steers weighing 1,186 to 1,194 pounds.
And we have a really nice pair of steers out here in this class. I think at first glance they could come off very similar, but the longer you break them down, I think there's actually a lot of trade-offs and differences between these two pairs of steers. But the young man steer that I often decide with, when you step him behind the cattle, he's the wider constructed, bolder-bodied steer that's got a lot more shape out of the backside of his shoulder. He's bigger over his loin. He's stouter and more powerful out of his upper pin set. From the side, he's a bigger footed steer. At the same time, though, he's still a little bit coarser in the way that he's assembled. Has a little bit more chest to him. Gets bigger at the base of his shoulder. When he gets out and travels, I want to see him just a little bit smoother in the way that it's put together. But I still think he's flexible enough. When you take into account the extra just muscularity, mass, and dimension that he brings to the table. The young man steer that's going to end up here in second is still a very nice kind of a steer. I like the extra length and extension that he has. He's leveler down his top line and out through his hip. He lays in smoother about his shoulder. He looks like he's in a very easy feeding kind of a calf. Compared back to our class winner, he's just a shot player in his muscle shape. Doesn't offer the same kind of boldness to his rib cage, muscularity down his top or out of his hip. But two very nice steers in this particular class. Let's give those young men a nice round of applause.
Results from our second class, Liz McConnell was first, and Peter Carraway was second. Our third class in our market steers is going to be a single entry weighing 1,256 pounds. To our bred and fed exhibitors, we've only got a couple classes left in our market steer program, so if you're showing in the bred and fed, please finish getting your animals ready and up to the holding area and checked in at this time, please.
Just a single entry out here in this class, a really big frame, long bodied kind of a steer that's very flexible out by either end. He's big footed underneath, stepping behind and want to see him have just some more shape and muscularity to him. A nice steer in the single entry class.
Congratulations to the framer. Our fourth and final class is going to be calves weighing 1,324 to 1,342 pounds. There are two entries in this class. This is our last class of market steers. Following this class, we will be selecting our champion and reserve champion market steer. Once again, onto our bred and fed exhibitors, our last class of market steers is in the ring. So So if you're showing in bred to bed, we need to have your animals up the holding area at this time, please. Levi Martin, we need to bring your steer up for the champion market steer. Levi Martin, please bring your animal up to the holding area and check in, please.
Another nice pair of steers out here. The one that's going to go on the wing, when you step in behind the cattle, he's got a pretty big advantage in terms of just boldness to his rib, the amount of shape that he feeds out of the backside of his shoulder, and how much stouter and more powerful he comes out of his hip. But I definitely do think the pair is close because when the cattle are walking, the steer that's going to come here in second, just reached shot more practical in his kind. I think he handles his hip and hind leg with more athleticism. He's softer in his body type, and just reads more practical from a feeding standpoint, which I appreciate. But this size and weight, I need to see him just with more boldness to his rib, more muscularity down his top and out of his hip. But I think that's a close pair of steers on my compliments to those young ladies.
Results from our fourth class of market steers. First place goes to Gabby Caraway, and second place to Bristol DeConville. Congratulations to those two exhibitors. Coming up next, we're going to bring in our first and second place in those four classes for the selection of our champion and reserve champion market steer. For our champion driver, our market steers for class 1, we have Trina Pearson with the steer weight 1,014. Class 2, Rich McConville, steer weighing 1,194 pounds. Class 3, we have Taylor Kramer, steer weighing 1,256 pounds. In our last class, class 4, we had Debbie Caraway with a steer weight 1,342 pounds.
Out here in our steer lineup, and then we have 4 nice class winners out here. Me personally, I've never been one to just be targeting in kind of a weight range, particularly at county fairs, because you never really know where the end goal is that the exhibitor has in mind for their animal. So I've always just kind of gone off which one's my favorite. In terms of just pound for pound size, pound for pound and the size and where they're at from just in their lifetimes or standpoint of what the exhibitors got them dialed in at. I think that the steer out of the second class is just the best from a power, dimension, and structure standpoint. He's going to go ahead and be our champion. We'll get the steer out of the second in that class to come out in contention for reserve.
So your champion of the steer goes to Richard Dunville in class 2 with a steer weight of 1,194 pounds. Reserve champion also out of class 2 goes to Parker Caraway. Steer weight 1,186 pounds. Congratulations to our 2 exhibitors. Coming up next is going to be our bred and vet division. So we have 6 total classes in our bred and vet division. Our first class starts out with a calf, weighs 566 pounds.
Just a single entry here to kick off our bred and fed division, a soft body, flexible build kind of a steer that maybe just doesn't have the same kind of bulk and mass that he probably needs to at this stage of the game, but it looks like with some time and days on feed, he's going to get there. Let's congratulate this young lady.
Congratulations to Maggie Durian. Our second class in our bred and fed division, we have 2 entries, weighing between 1,004 and 1,032 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a really good one outside. Yeah. She's got kids in high school, right? She has days that she's not. My mom my sister. I think
Out here in the second class, the young ladies red steer is going to go out in the mid. Easily just the wider constructed, bolder body, more powerfully constructed steer that just has more market animal, just power and problem to him at this stage of the game. But the young lady's black steer, I think, is a better structured steer because he's lower down his top line and out through his hip. And he's flexible up either end. Just doesn't have the same kind of this muscularity, mass, or dimension to compete with our class winner. Let's give those young ladies a nice round of applause.
Results from our second class of bred and fed. First place goes to Dally Barnes, and second place was Chloe Curtin. Our third class of bred and fed. We have 2 entries. These calves weigh between 1,211 and 1,258 pounds.
Whoops. Whoops. Good practice. Good move. My foot. 8 pounds. Oh, yeah, Jack.
Yes, absolutely.
Here in our third class of series, we have two really stout and powerful kinds of cattle. But the young lady, lady's red steer that's going to go out and win is easily just the wider constructed, bolder bodied steer that's got more width and muscularity to him, still balanced as well on the side and travels good out of his hip and hind leg. The young lady's black steer that's going to come here in second is a really soft body and easy feeding kind of a steer. I appreciate where he's at in terms of a finish and a fat cover standpoint, but when he gets out and moves, he's struggling pretty bad there out of his hip and hind leg. I don't know if he's got an injury or what, but I need to see him move just with more comfort and still doesn't have the same kind of shape as our class winner, but a really practical, good body kind of a calf to round out the class. Let's give him a round of applause.
Results from Class 3 of our bred and fed division. First place goes to Lizzie David, and second place to Anna Dillon. Our fourth class of bred and fed, we have 3 entries, weighing between 1,398 and 1,484 pounds.
Bye-bye.
You
Bye-bye.
can't swimming together one day. You gotta learn to get around.
It's all downhill from there.
All
right, see you, take care.
Another nice trio of steers out here, but the young lady's steer that's going to go out and win. Really wide constructed, bold body, big back kind of a calf that's got a ton of shape when you get in behind him. He's big-footed and so balanced as well from the side. A nice one to go ahead and lead off with. I think there's some trade-offs between second and third. I opted to use the young lady steer in second because when you're stepping behind the cattle, he's got more boldness and outward turn to his rib. He's wider down his top and he's got more dimension out of his upper hip. From the side, when he's standing still, I think he balances better as well because he's a longer neck and softer back into his rib. When he's pulled the lead, he's a frailer-footed steer that gets a little bit up in his spine, so I want to fix him in that regard. But he just has an advantage from a boldness or body standpoint, a muscularity standpoint. The blaze face steer that's going to round out the class is extremely big-footed, a big form kind of a steer. He's got some shape to him when you get it behind him. I appreciate that about him. He's just flatter bodied steer. He's just narrower throughout when compared to the ones ahead of him. From the side, he's too upright with the shoulder and knee and round out of his hip. You just see him balance up just a shot better. But let's go ahead and give this kid a nice round of applause.
Results from Class 4 Bred and Fed Division. First place goes to Trina Pearson. Second place, Emma Howard. And third place, Alex Rickerson. Our fifth class, we have 2 entries. These calves weigh 1,544 to 1,590 pounds.
Another nice pair of steers in this class, and I think some offer some trade-offs, but the young lady steer is going to go out and win just a count of practicality, a really good body, good structured kind of calf that gets out and moves with a ton of flexibility on either end of your structure, and you take into it, and when you get it behind, you still got more than enough to shape and muscularity for him to go out and win this particular class. The young lady steer that's going to come here in second is the bigger back steer that's got more shape out of the back side of his shoulder. He's a shot more powerful out of his upper hip as well. It's just when he gets out on the move that he needs to travel just a little bit better. It looks like he's injured himself on his back left hock and just need to see him move out with this shot more comfort, and would like to see him a little bit just balance up just a shot better from the side. But let's go ahead and give those kids a nice round of applause.
Results from Class 5 in the Bred and Fed Division. First place goes to Haley Jensen, and second place to Brandon Malcolm. Our final class in our Bred and Fed Division has 2 entries, and these calves weigh between 610 and 672 pounds. Following this class, we will be doing our selection of our champion and reserve champion bred and fed. Immediately followed by our selection of our overall champion market beef animal.
Another nice pair of steers in this heavyweight class. But the Bronco steers are going to win pretty comfortably for me. A good looking, good balance kind of a steer that travels well up either end of his structure. I get him behind the cattle, and he still holds an advantage from a muscularity and dimension standpoint. So a nice place to go out and win. Another takeaway from the red steer that's going to come out here in second, because that's a huge body, easy feeding kind of a calf that's still got product in it compared to our class winner, though. He's just a shot play. We're going to shape up high. But the biggest reason why he's going to stay second is just on account of structure. You need to see him travel just a little bit more comfortably out here in the ring. Well, let's give those young ladies the next round of applause.
Results from our last class of bred and fed. First place goes to Greta Rickerson. Second place goes to Addison Howard. Congratulations to those two individuals. Next, we'll be bringing in our first and second place from our bred and fed division for our champion, our selection of our champion and reserve champion bred and fed steer. Following our selection of our bred and fed champion, we will be going on to our overall selection of our champion market beef animal.
I think we have a nice lineup of cattle out here in our champion bred and fed division. I think this is a really cool division that you guys have here at the Dawson County Fair, because it takes into account all the work that the kids put in at home, from conception to raising the cattle and bringing them out here to the show ring. There's a lot of work that goes into that. So my compliments to you guys and to you exhibitors out here. I think there's a lot of good animals from a market animal standpoint. I'm still placing, we're in a show ring, so I'm still going to place some emphasis on just show ring look and balance. So with that being said, I'll go out and pick our champion and reserve steer out here, but let's give these kids a big round of applause for putting the work to come out here this evening.
And this is David as your champion bred and fed for 2025. If you're going to be showing in a pen of 5, we need to start getting your animals together. If you're going to be competing in the pen of 5, please start getting your animals together and bring them up to the holding area, please. Your reserve bred and fed goes to Trent Pearson. Congratulations to both exhibitors. Momentarily, once we get we have our ring cleared out here, we'll get our champion and reserve champion market heifers and our market steers, as well as the 2 bred and fed we just saw selected out for the selection of our overall champion market account. So while we're waiting for them to get lined up, I'll give a rundown on each individual. From our market heifer division, the champion was Owen Lassen, with a heifer weighing 1,130 pounds. And reserve champion from the market heifers went to Megan Lassen, with a heifer weighing 1,056. From our market steer division, Riggs McConville has a steer weighing 1,194 pounds. And the reserve champion from our market steers is a steer weighing 1,186 pounds. And our most recent division we had in our bred and fed, Lizzie David, one with a steer weighing 1,211 pounds, and Trudy Pearson with a steer weighing 1,398 pounds. And that will be your lineup for our overall champion and reserve champion market. Once again, while we're getting our lineup into the ring, if you're going to be showing in the pen of 5, please get your group of animals together and bring them up into the holding area. If you're going to be showing in the pen of 5, please come to the holding area with your animals. Also, while Cal's working his way through our championship lineup, we're going to need the following 4 exhibitors into the ring following this selection. We need Greta Rickardson, Alex Rickardson, Haley Jensen, and Braylon Malcolm into the ring following our selection of our champion, reserve champion market.
Out here in the lineup for our champion and overall market animal, I'd just like to make sure we say thank you to all the people that helped make the show run smoothly tonight. Our ring help, ribbon girls, staging. Let's put our announcers. Let's make sure we put our hands together for them and all the work that they put in tonight. I thought that's been a really competitive beef show all evening. I've been impressed with the quality. So my compliments to you exhibitors and families and breeders at home for all the work that you put in getting the cattle prepped. But I still think there's a pair of cattle out here that probably just suit me best in terms of having the right kind of a show ring presence, market animal product, and they still be able to flex and move comfortably out here like the way that they should. We're going to keep the 2 red steers together for a champion and reserve. Let's give those 2 young men a nice round of applause.
So the grand champion market animal for 2025 goes to Riggs McConville of the market steer division. And the reserve champion also comes out of the market steers and goes to Parker Caraway. Congratulations to those 2 individuals. So Greta Rickardson, Alex Rickardson, Haley Jensen, and Braylon Malcolm will come to the ring here momentarily. Also, if you're showing a pen of 5, we're going to be doing that here in just a few minutes. So if you have a pen of 5, we need your animals to the holding area and checked in, please. Okay, so we have Greta Rickardson, Alex Rickardson, Haley Jensen, and Braylon Malcolm in the ring currently. We are here to congratulate them for having the top 4 animals in the Ready Game contest. In 4th place, Braylon Malcolm. Her animal gained 3.71 pounds per day. In 3rd place was Haley Jensen. Her animal gained 3.98 pounds per day. In 2nd place, Alex Rickardson. And her animal gained 4.05 pounds per day. And your champion for Ready Game for 2025 goes to Greta Rickardson. And her animal gained 4.47 pounds per day. So congratulations to you for this very top performing animal. Congratulations again, great job this year. Next in the ring, we're going to have our pen of 5, but it's going to take a couple minutes for us to get those groups together. As soon as we get them together and checked in, we will do our pen of 5.
before this year.
We got Brent, and then Brent was like, I'm not doing it. Actually, great. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a little bit, because we were going to, we went on cruise with my cousin, so we spent time to go to the whale watch.
Can you tell us?
If you're ready, if you have a pen of five, let's bring him in the ring. Our pen of fives. I don't know how many we got, but let's bring him in the ring. All right, we're still waiting on 10 of 5. A little bit of information on 10 of 5. These are actually 5 animals from the same club. So these are really a club-based event. That's how we're able to get 5 animals together to show it through. But with our championship just winding up, we've got to take a few minutes here to get the animals from the fans out here and get them lined up.
Love them. I mean, I thought it was. Did you need to have that set up? That could be fun. You're going Monday. Are those friendly?
That was pretty like drop.
I was gonna say, operation be fun.
Can you bring me over?
We apparently have one more group that's planning to participate as well. That's it. We have 110 so we're all set. This is the 100th Meridian Club.
Parker, you gotta get Catholic counter in. What time you want her there? And then
Just one pen of 5 out here, but let's put our hands together for these exhibitors as the champion pen. And that wraps up the 2025 Dawson County Beef Show.